Good evening. Thank you all for joining us. Today is Thursday, April 17th, 2025, and you're listening to the monthly board meeting of the ASCA Board of Directors. Present tonight are Jerry Scheidt, Donna Sims, Diana Williams, Tanya Johnson, Jan Weeson, Ann McCabe, Jillian Ward, myself, Susan Byrne, and the Executive Secretary, Kala Jaco. The next item on the agenda is with Ms. Ward, the Q tracker numbers for our non-Aussies and the service membership data. Jillian.
Okay, so just to bring the membership and the board just back up to speed, we did discuss this topic at the spring board meeting. It was a bit larger conversation at that time, and I'm proposing that we pare it back down to the QT registration and the service member fees that were on the fee increase rollout that are proposed to go into effect January 2026. There was the feedback from the membership. They were loud and clear that they want to make sure that we continue to find ways to encourage other breeds to participate in the performance events. So I've done some digging and I wanted to share with the membership some statistics. I know I already presented this to the board, but I'm just going to really quickly, for the membership's benefit, express a few things. So ASCA has a total of 27,430 QT registered dogs in our database. 4,318 have competed within the last 5 years. 1,666 have competed within the last year. Of the dogs competing within the last year, there are 576 active members and 324 inactive members. Within the past 5 years, 11,731 titles have been issued, 2,772 titles within the past year. Of these titles issued within the past year, 1,774 have been issued to active members, 789 have been issued to inactive members. Of the 789, 687 titles were issued in the US and 102 internationally. And there's about 200 titles in here that are not accounted for in this query. It was something to do with the report that was run. In the last 5 years, ASCA has issued 5,491 titles to inactive members. Why am I sharing this information with you? When someone obtains a QT registration number, it's just a registration number. You pay for it one time. Right now, you pay $20. In order for you to register that dog, you pay a service membership fee one time for $20. And there is nothing in place right now that prevents someone with a QT number from getting all your certificates mailed to you. Why this is important is that ASCA cannot sustain this. So for a one-time fee of $20 plus $20, which is $40, you get an endless amount of title certificates processed, issued, and mailed to you. And in some cases, in another country. ASCA is not in a position to be able to afford that moving forward. So at one point, we were looking at increasing the QT registration and the service membership fee to $30, but the membership felt that that would discourage new people with other breeds from participating. So what I've done with the concurrence of our webmaster is a proposal that if the board is in agreement, I will then write a motion with the help of the webmaster and the business office to make sure that this can all sing properly, and then I will present it to the board for vote electronically. But the proposal right now includes these things. The QT registration fee would remain at $20, no change in the fee. The service membership fee would remain at $20, no change in fee. No title, here's some changes though. No title certificates will be mailed without a current membership, whether it's full or service. We are printing and mailing thousands of certificates a year to inactive members, which is unsustainable. Certificates will be mailed for full members only. Active service members can print from the portal. I will also be making a motion to approve the breed merit list that was part of the approved motion in 2021 for the agility regionals. And other breeds must be a full member to be included in the merit list. So if you guys are in favor of these changes, I'd like to hear your feedback. But if you're in favor as the majority, then I will go ahead and work with the webmaster and our office manager, and we will craft several motions to make sure that they coincide with our rules existing and how they'll need to be mapped out for the future.
Thank you, Jillian. Thanks for all your work on that, and also with the webmasters and those who you worked with in the office. Amongst those of us on this call tonight, does anyone have any further questions? Yes, this is a refresher since we had touched on it during the spring meeting. Okay. If no one has any further questions, by a consensus, can I just get your approval for Jillian to proceed with the tracking and rule changes that would need to take place in order to implement these suggestions? If you approve, please say yes.
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 Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Is there anyone in disapproval? Please say nay. Okay. Jillian, I think you've got your consensus ready to go. Thank you so much. I think this will be, it's a big realization when you get the figures out there. It's just a lot, and we had the inkling, but now we definitely have the statistics to support this. Thank you so much. All right, the next item on the agenda is our monthly treasurer's report, and that's Diana.
Hi there. Okay, so I emailed everyone our monthly cash at a glance. The Chase checking account has $133,677.32. The wire account always stays the same. The savings account is $34,458.89. The AEMD account is $11,238.86. The foundation account is $72,571.31. The 24 Nationals account is sitting right now at $108,526.32. With Vanguard, they all went up a few $100s. So the savings account is $118,089.38. The AEMD funds there are $40,619.56. The foundation account is $22.55 for a total available to ASCA at $519,304.19. We did have, I also listed down here what the 25 Nationals account is running at, but since that's a new account and it's coming and going, I took it out of our glance up top because it really doesn't affect us at this point. We did in April incur some extra expenses. In addition to the employee expenses we incurred, we bought a trailer for the Nationals use. We paid for the first quarter Aussie Times. We paid that invoice on, I believe it was April the 9th. We also prepaid the postage for quarter 2 Aussie Nationals, Aussie time. So hopefully that's going to be on time this time. It looks like it's going to be okay. He changed, from what I understand, he changed post offices, so they're not using the same shipping facility. On our working budget, let me switch my screen real quick, folks. We had a profit this month of $31,699.30 after all expenses and income. I do have a few concerns on this month's expenses. I felt like the IT and website expenses were far below they've ever been the 3 months prior to this. So I'm not sure if things just weren't billed out yet, or I don't even know how we get those bills, Susan. So that's one thing I was going to talk to the office manager about, is see where those bills are and see if we just missed paying them or if they're still hanging out there, because I'm concerned that the cost were a lot less. And then that's all I have. Let me look real quick at my list. I think I covered most everything else already. Any questions about anything that I can help you with? Okay, if we have no questions, then I make a motion that we approve the April treasurer's report.
Thank you, Diana. All those in favor of approving the treasurer's report as presented?
I'm
Aye.
sorry. I'm
Aye.
going to correct that to the March treasurer's report
was,
at the April meeting.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes, it was for March figures. Okay, you
Aye.
guys. Everybody's still in favor?
Aye.
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 Yeah.
Aye. Aye.
And
And
anyone,
I,
okay, and anyone opposed? And then Diana's going to abstain. Thank you so much. Okay, the next item on the agenda this evening is bringing all requirements for all committees in line with the term renewals and removing any previously granted exemptions. There's not an individual's name on this, but this is something again that we spoke about on this at the spring meeting, and there are concerns about individuals that are on some of these committees that have been there, and basically they do not have to reapply, and they just continue serving on those committees as they were initially appointed. Ann McCabe, you've got one of those committees for sure. You may have two of them, actually. Would you like to speak on this as far as if you believe that we need to make some changes there? And if so, do we wish to have all committees treated equally? I believe that was the crux of the conversation. And do you want to speak on the committees that you have? And
Yeah,
if
as
you
soon as
believe
I,
that there's any change, do you believe there's any changes needed?
well, I think the committees that are addressed are not necessarily program committees, and so they don't necessarily have a large large interest, or that were like have multiple applications every year. But then I also see it as, well, if they have to apply every few years like everyone else, why not? If they're doing a good job and the other members of the committee want them to go on, then that's fine. I don't see a downside to asking these people to put in an application every few years. I mean, everyone else has to do it. So, and then the regional requirements, that's so, I mean, as I said, these aren't like heavily populated committees, so I don't think that's really ever going to be an issue. But yeah, the only change that I see is that they have to put in an application. So why not? We might as well try to be consistent and not make so many exceptions for things.
Great, thank you. I was just going to open that portion in the drive tonight. So we do have several of those committees, and it's the Ernie Hartnagel, the Nationals Advisory, the History Committee, and we're changing the name of the Sponsorship and Fundraising Committee. I just saw that as well. So would anybody like to, the Development Committee, thank you. Would anyone like to propose a motion that these committees would need to allow applications on and reapplication on a 2-year basis?
This is Donna. I will move that, that we do that, that we bring all these other committees up to the same requirements as the other committees, so that we're consistent throughout all of the committees and
There you go.
what our requirements are.
Perfect.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I think Kala had put for each committee like how it would change and where the committees are mentioned, because they're mostly in the policy book.
Correct. And looking at it, the exemptions were an NAC History Committee sponsorship and fundraising, which is now changed to development. The exemptions were granted, and the current proposals, the National Advisor Committee is exempt from regional representation. Membership is limited to former cash and current national chairs, national assistant chairs, and national accounting chairs, which is what we adopted just a couple of months ago. The Development Committee is exempt from board liaison participation restrictions on board members serving as committee members, requirements for making motions, and the requirement to create a mission statement. So that is what currently is the policy on those committees. And I believe that by asking the Ernie Hartnagel and the History Committee to consider revising their committee requirements to allow for applications and encourage applications to those committees on a more regular basis every 2 years, they still would need to determine, and this is going to be really a work in progress, I believe, with the liaison to determine what they're going to accept as suggestions. And the board will make the motion, and the document is in the drive. It's the second document on that topic. Oh, come on, computer, sorry. Okie doke. It very clearly states the selection process and things that are applicable to these committee procedures. So would anybody be willing to make a motion to accept the proposed changes to the current wording as is demonstrated in the drive? And Donna has made that motion, but we do not have a second yet. Anybody willing to second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Jillian. Okay. There's a motion on the floor to bring into alignment those committees that currently previously have been granted exceptions, those being the Ernest Hartnagel and the History Committee that are not currently required to meet the same requirements as the program committees. Okay. Motions on the floor. We have a second motion by Donna, seconded by Jillian. Is there any further discussion?
are we clarifying that it's just the two committees now, not all?
Yes. The first document in the drive delineates those. Tanya, are you able to see that?
No, but I'll trust
Okay.
you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Is there any further discussion or anyone else have any further questions? Okay. Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the proposed changes to committee membership?
Aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, guys. Okay, the next item on the agenda this evening is the Development Committee, and that is Diana Williams.
So,
Diana, you're muted. Okay. Can't, Diana, you are currently muted.
I'm
There you
sorry.
go. Thank
There you
you.
go. Thank you. And that was formerly the Sponsorship and Fundraising Committee. Now it's the Development Committee. The Development Committee has been working hard with bringing in new items and being creative on their merchandising and sponsorships. They've been working closely with and coordinating with the Nationals Club so that Nationals and the Development Committee will not duplicate items that they wish to vend and sell at the Nationals, and also vend and sell outside the Nationals. So we would like to see ASCA move forward with having its own merchandise at the Nationals, and then the merchandise also being available outside of the Nationals. In order to do that, we want to make sure that we're not impeding on the Nationals and what they want to sell. So that's why we're meeting together and coordinating together so that there are no duplication and each individual entity can have their own unique items. With that said, we need to start pricing out, and I think Jill's been pricing out with a few other people some different ideas for merch to bring merchandise to take to Nationals that can be sold at Nationals. We're going to work on having the merchandise booth set up next to Nationals merchandise booth so we can help each other out. We can also have the ASCA staff who attends Nationals work that booth as well so that we don't have to have outside volunteers to work the booth, thereby streamlining the work schedule and making it a little bit more easy to be able to cover that table. We're looking at funding the merchandise for around $8,000 to get the merchandise off the ground and get some basic merchandise ordered for the Nationals. Does anybody have any questions about that? We don't have a complete list yet of everything. They're working on a couple different t-shirts to be different than the t-shirts Nationals will sell, different colors so that it's not competing with Nationals. They're looking at several other things. I'm sure I'll have a more of a thorough list once we get pricing out for everyone.
so I have a question, Diana. So this would be different things.
Yes.
So probably some more unique things. And then this would be something that would be ongoing, like ASCA would have a little store, for lack of a better word, that people
Sure.
could go online and buy these items going forward.
That would be my goal, and that would be my hopes that this would be ongoing. There are other registry clubs out there that have their own merchandise representing their own unique clubs. I've always thought ASCA needs their own merchandise. We just had the t-shirt sale that was very good for ASCA, and we sold quite a few of those long sleeve t-shirts. I'd like to see us have more merchandise and product that represents ASCA year round, not just at the nationals.
Thank you.
And then this would also, these profits would not go to, even though we're introducing them at the nationals, they would not be considered a nationals product or income. They would be strictly just for ASCA.
And this is Jan, they are researching companies so that we do not have to have inventory at the office, that they could just order direct from the company and receive it. I think one's
That
called
initially,
Bonar or
because
something.
yeah, initially because of lack of staff at the ASCA office, that's probably the only way we can do it. I personally would like to, that ASCA office is huge. That back room could be used very easily for shipping out. And it's too soon now to say that we would be shipping from the ASCA office. I personally would like to see us go that route in the future. It's baby steps getting there, but that's where I would like to see it going, other than just packing this stuff up and putting it in boxes till next year's nationals.
Excellent. Thank you guys for doing all this. Do we have any figures as to what the profit was on those long sleeve shirts, or can we get that information? So many people, I think, really enjoyed and appreciated the opportunity to order those shirts and wear them proudly. So thanks you guys for getting
We
that
do
done.
have information on that. I don't have it in front of me, but I want to
Okay.
say it was close to $1,900.
Awesome. And that was so great because I know people did work on it, but it wasn't just totally consuming of their time. So we appreciate that, getting that done.
So
I
moving
appreciate it.
forward, do I, as the liaison for the committee, do I need to make a motion that ASCA makes available these funds in order, because the nationals is coming up, we've got to move on this and not put it off till next month's meeting. Do I need
Yes.
to make a motion that ASCA has available the funds to initiate our first year's sale of ASCA merchandise at the nationals?
Yes, and you did include the amount that you anticipated, yeah, correct?
I said $8,000, correct?
Is that going to be enough of a cushion to be able to get you guys off the ground?
No.
Okay, well,
But-
all right.
but-
So
Well,
I
it's
haven't gotten any pricing yet, so maybe Jill has up-to-date pricing.
no, I mean I think what's important for the board to be made aware of is because the ASCA store will be separate from the national merchandise store. I didn't realize until about last month, hey, I can't buy stuff with the national money it's not in the national budget. So I called Diana and I said, I think we need some money. We've got some marketing stuff coming down the pike too that we're going to need some funding. So I didn't realize that we were going to have the dollar amount need tonight. So I didn't prepare it, but I can, and I can get that to you within the next week or so. But I don't know that $8,000 is going to be enough. So if you guys are open to like a price range, I think that would be better. Or we can, if Diana wants to table the motion until I get actual numbers, then that's great. But we're also doing a campaign right now, so we're sort of focused on that as well.
Okay.
I think personally, we would be better served to have a finite number not to exceed. And I think that in order to do that, we're going to need more statistics. So I think if we can get that information and bring it forward in potentially an email motion or in the non-regular time frame, I think that would be a better management of our funds, that we have more information there.
Okay, I can do that.
Thank
I agree.
you.
I would like to see a more formal budget. This is
Yeah.
Tanya. Thank you.
I mean, we do wish to be good stewards of our funds, and I think that that's going to be demonstrating our desire and commitment to doing it in that manner. So thank you guys. If you can get more information and let's get some finite figures there, I think that it'll be much better served.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the System Liaisons Report. Jillian?
All right. Programmer 1. I'm going to go down each person and tell you what they're each working on right now. Programmer 1 is working on individual dog registration and puppy releases at the final phase. The office manager is to review over the next few weeks, I guess she said. She created a fix for the judge's inactivity. We were previously only able to make a judge active or inactive as a whole. Now we can do it per program if one retires from a certain program. She is beginning to work on an issue with the Aussie Times date within the portal. It is apparently not correct. She is working on making a person inactive and making a portal user inactive. And she is working on a current infrastructure issue. Programmer 2 is finalizing scent detection in the computer. She's going to be traveling a lot in May, so they are hoping to get that finished up as soon as possible. One of the IT experts, it's one of the committee members who's responsible for reports. We are working on a 3 final merit list that has some issues. She has a big job at work at the moment. She is on hold, but hopes to get back to this next week. At this time, she will work on those final reports. The webmaster is finishing up going through the judges directory, deleting judges that are not active, etc. Once she is through the last 2 years, she will be sending out a judge survey to make sure the ones on the list want to be active and that their information is correct. Something that I did not touch on earlier with the when I was talking about the membership fees, the webmaster and I discussed today creating a potential option to offer a green option for full members wishing to opt out of printing material like the Aussie Times and the title certificates. So she and I are working on that together, and then we will discuss the potentials of that with the board moving forward. The committee goals, there are 2 additional things that have come up most recently. Their goals are to prepare a formal disaster recovery business continuity plan. This will ensure that if we lose access to the business office portal, etc., for one reason or the other, we have a plan in place that will allow us to continue operations as seamlessly as possible. And another new goal for them is to prepare and maintain an access control matrix indicating all systems, employees, and other key users. And that is a wrap.
Thank you. They are really busy, so it makes me doubly concerned that our expenses for the month of March may not have been captured, and we may have a much larger bill in the month of April that will be basically playing catch up. Thank you. And please, Jillian, pass along our appreciation to all the folks that are on the IT committee and those that you work with so closely, and both the programmers as well as the webmaster for sure.
Will do.
Okay, that brings us to the ratification of last month. Do I have a director that would like to make a motion to accept that?
This is Anne. I move to accept last month's email business.
Thank you, Anne. Do I have a second?
I'll second. This is Tanya.
Thank you, Tanya. Okay, any concerns or questions, discussion about the ratification of last month's email business? Hearing none, I shall call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you for your time this evening. It's the Thursday night before Easter, so I hope that everyone has big plans for the weekend with their family and enjoy that time together. I want to thank all of the members for listening and tuning in and caring enough about this organization to listen in. One thing I needed to let you know, I'm getting notifications of phishing emails. So please know that I will never ask you to help out with credit cards or gift cards or helping out with payments. Those are always going to be phishing emails, guys. So don't fall prey to them at all.
And I'll never call you in Germany and say, what did you want to talk about?
Right.
Again.
So these folks that are out there wishing to cause harm to our organization, I'm not even sure it's definitely just we're not isolated. I'm quite sure there are people that just wish to cause harm and wreak havoc, and those are the ones that we really don't need to take the time to deal with. So with that being said, thanks again, everybody. Have a wonderful evening and a wonderful Easter weekend, and we'll look forward to visiting again soon. Thanks so much. Have a good
Good
evening.
night, everyone.
Night,
Good night.
everybody.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Goodbye.